Hi, K-pop lovers. Welcome back to our channel. Hey everyone. Before we dive into this incredible story, make sure to hit that like button, drop a comment below telling me if you're ARMY, Blink, or both, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications because you won't want to miss what happens next in the K-pop world. So let me ask you something. What do you think happens when two of the world's most powerful fandoms decide to channel their energy not into fighting each other, but into changing the world? The answer is absolutely mind-blowing, and I'm about to show you exactly why Blinks and ARMYs are proving that K-pop fans are literally one of the most powerful forces on this planet right now. Now I know what you're thinking, didn't these fandoms used to clash all the time on social media? Well, that's exactly what makes this story so incredible, because what's happening now is completely different from what we saw just a few years ago. Let me take you on a journey that will completely change how you see K-pop fandoms forever. Let's start with ARMY, because their story is absolutely insane. In June 2020, BTS and Big Hit Entertainment made headlines when they donated $1 million to the Black Lives Matter movement. $1 million. That's already incredible, right? But here's where it gets absolutely wild. Within just 24 hours of that announcement, ARMY decided they were going to match that donation. And they didn't just try, they actually did it. In one single day, over 35,000 ARMYs from all around the world came together and raised over $1 million. That's more than $2 million combined in just one day for racial justice. Think about that for a second. A fandom, just regular people who love music, mobilized faster than most corporations and raised $1 million in 24 hours. The organization that coordinated this was called One in an Army, which is basically a volunteer-run charity collective that harnesses the power of millions of BTS fans to create real change in the world. But wait, it gets even better. One in an Army isn't just a one-time thing. Since they started in April 2018, they've organized over 50 different charity campaigns. We're talking about projects that have provided clean water filters in Indonesia that will serve families for over 30 years, funded college scholarships for orphans in Korea, planted thousands of trees across the globe, provided meals during Ramadan for Syrian refugees, supported mental health programs, rescued street animals in India, and so much more. And get this, by 2020 they had already raised over $1 million through their monthly microdonation campaigns, and that was before the Black Lives Matter campaign even happened. What makes ARMY so powerful is that they don't just throw money at big organizations and call it a day. They research local nonprofits, find grassroots projects that actually need help, and then mobilize fans from literally every corner of the planet to donate even just a few dollars each. When you have millions of people each giving $5 or $10, it adds up to life-changing amounts of money. And this isn't just about money. ARMYs organize birthday projects for each BTS member where instead of sending gifts, they donate to causes that align with each member's values. For J-Hope's birthday, they funded dance programs for underprivileged youth. For RM's birthday, they supported art education for children. For Suga's birthday in 2025, they raised nearly $23,000 for the Palestine Trauma Center to support mental health services. This happens every single year, 7 times a year for 7 members, plus campaigns for the group's anniversary and ARMY's own anniversary. The scale is absolutely unprecedented in fandom history. Now let's talk about Blinks, because they're absolutely no joke either. Blackpink has been advocates for the United Nations Climate Change Conference since 2020, and the members themselves have been leading by example. In May 2024, Jennie donated 100 million won, that's about $74,000, to Habitat for Humanity Korea in the name of Blink, her fandom. That money is being used to build an entire school called the Rodam International Alternative School for marginalized youth in South Korea. She literally built a school in honor of her fans. Let that sink in. And then in 2025, when wildfires devastated parts of Korea, Jennie donated another 100 million won for disaster relief. When Los Angeles was hit by wildfires earlier this year, she made sure proceeds from her US shows went directly to fire recovery efforts and local firefighters. Lisa has been just as incredible. In September 2024, she performed for free at the Global Citizen Festival in New York's Central Park, which was her very first solo festival performance ever. And here's the kicker, all the proceeds from that event were donated to improve education for children in Gaza and Sudan. She could have charged whatever she wanted for her first major solo headlining event, but instead she chose to use that platform to raise awareness and funds for children in crisis. Later that same year, Lisa also held a charity flea market called Lisa's Closet, where she auctioned her personal items, and every single dollar went to charity, specifically to Good Neighbors, an organization that works with the UN on humanitarian projects including providing clean water in Niger, one of the most water-stressed countries in the world. And in June 2025, she announced another closet sale with all proceeds going to environmental causes. The beautiful thing is that both Blackpink members and BTS have partnered with major organizations. BTS's Love Myself campaign with UNICEF has raised over $6 million since 2017 to end violence against children and teens worldwide. In 2024, they expanded this to include the On My Mind initiative for youth mental health globally. Blackpink serves as UN COP26 advocates for climate action, using their massive platform of over 99 million YouTube subscribers to spread messages about environmental protection. What really gets me emotional is how these fandoms have learned from each other. You see ARMYs doing birthday charity projects, and now you see Blinks organizing similar campaigns. You see Blackpink members championing environmental causes, and you see ARMY organizing environmental cleanup drives and tree planting initiatives. Instead of competing about who's better, they're actually inspiring each other to do more good in the world. I've seen tweets and posts where ARMYs congratulate Blinks on their charity achievements and vice versa. There's this growing recognition that at the end of the day, they're all young people who want to make the world better, and they're all inspired by artists who taught them to love themselves and care about others. The numbers are staggering when you really think about it. ARMY alone is estimated to be between 40 to 60 million fans worldwide. Blackpink's Blink fandom is over 30 million strong globally. When you combine the power of these fandoms, you're talking about nearly 100 million people who have been inspired by their favorite artists to actually take action on social issues. These aren't just passive consumers of entertainment. They're organized, they're strategic, they're global, and they're determined to create change. Here's what really blows my mind. Traditional charities and NGOs spend millions on fundraising campaigns and awareness efforts. But K-pop fandoms do this organically, for free, out of pure love and passion. They create graphics, organize social media campaigns, track donations, coordinate across time zones and languages, all as volunteers. One in an ARMY is run entirely by volunteers who have never met BTS and will probably never meet them, but they've organized hundreds of thousands of dollars in donations because they were inspired by BTS's message of loving yourself and loving others. That's the power of parasocial relationships being channeled into something genuinely positive. And it's not slowing down. In fact, it's accelerating. As of 2025, both BTS and Blackpink announced world tours. ARMY was named Fandom of the Year in 2025, recognizing not just their streaming power but their social impact. Blackpink continues to break records with over 16 billion streams on Spotify in 2025. Both groups are at the absolute peak of their powers, which means their fandoms are too. And what we're seeing is that as these fandoms grow, so does their capacity to create change. Every new fan who joins doesn't just stream songs, they become part of a community that values compassion, activism, and real-world impact. The media has taken notice too. CNN, BBC, Forbes, and academic researchers have all covered ARMY's charitable work, calling it unprecedented in fandom history. Universities are literally studying these fandoms as examples of how digital communities can mobilize for social good. This isn't just a K-pop story anymore. This is a story about how young people around the world are redefining what it means to be a fan in the 21st century. So when people ask me why K-pop fans are so intense or why they care so much, I point to stories like these. Yes, they'll stream a song 1,000,000 times, and yes, they'll defend their favorites online, but they'll also raise millions of dollars for racial justice in 24 hours. They'll build schools for marginalized kids. They'll fund mental health programs. They'll plant forests. They'll provide clean water. They'll support disaster relief. They'll do all of this while being dismissed by mainstream media as just crazy teenage fans. But the receipts don't lie. The impact is real and measurable and life-changing for the people who receive this help. Blinks and armies have proven that K-pop fans are not just powerful in terms of chart positions and ticket sales. They're powerful because they can mobilize millions of people across the world to take action on issues that matter. They're powerful because they turn their passion into purpose. They're powerful because they prove that loving music and loving people aren't separate things, they're actually deeply connected. So before we wrap up, I want you to do me a favor. Smash that like button if this story inspired you, share this video with someone who needs to hear this message, and subscribe if you want more positive K-pop content like this. Drop a comment telling me what charity cause you'd support if you could organize a fandom project. And remember, you don't have to be ARMY or Blink to make a difference, but their example shows us that when we come together with purpose and passion, we can literally change the world. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Annyeong.